Hi everybody, I'm Carol Ann and I am talking to Pastor Bobby McGuire right now about responsibility. And so let me tell you a little bit about responsibility. People that are highly talented in the responsibility theme take psychological ownership over what they say. So they're committed to these really stable values such as honesty and loyalty, and these are people that if they say they're going to do it, they get things done. So Bobby, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I am a husband of 27 years.
Did you get the McGuire thing? Got it.
I'm a father of two beautiful girls. I'm a preacher's kid. I grew up in a pastor's home for all my life in Kansas. My father was a Baptist minister, and I'm the first of 4 children, and I accepted Christ at the age of 7. I'm a Christ follower, youth pastor for more than 30 years, different churches in Kansas, and then I was a youth pastor at Sunlight since 1989, and then recently, a year and a half ago, associate pastor at Sunlight. That's a little bit about myself.
What are your top 5?
My top 5 are belief, responsibility, achiever, connectedness, and input.
Okay. What is, we're talking about responsibility. So what does responsibility look like in your ministry?
Well, when I make a commitment to do something, then I do it. That's how it looks. If I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. To me, being on time, if I say I'm going to be there at 5, I'm going to be there hopefully before 5, because I said I'm going to be there at 5, so I'm going to be there. So I'm going to be on time, and I'm going to get done what I say I'm going to get done. That's important.
Okay. When in my book, I end every chapter with Jesus is the ultimate on each one of these themes. So how has Jesus been like the ultimate responsibility in your life?
Well, he keeps his word. So when he says he's going to do something, he's going to do it. In other words, his promises are true. I can count on him. So when I have a need or a problem or a situation, I know he's going to be there. He's always been there. I've not always got the answers that I wanted. That's the truth. But I know I can count on him.
I have a section of worship songs on responsibility in each chapter. Is there a specific worship song or praise song that you kind of reminds you of responsibility?
Well, the song I used in my message on Sunday on responsibility was Grace to Grace. And the reason I chose that song was because, and I'll just read some of the words. It says, "How wonderful, how glorious, my Savior's scars victorious. My chains are gone, my debt is paid, from death to life and grace to grace." Jesus' responsibility was evident in that he fulfilled the necessary tasks, the necessary process, the things that he was supposed to do, so that I can be free, so that I can have my sins forgiven, so that I can live a full, abundant life. And so to me, by saying those things, it's pointing out this is Jesus' responsibility and the price that he paid for me. I have different like little questions in the book of different things that you can kind of reflect on each of those themes. Was there any question that kind of stood out to you that you want to talk about? Well, I had picked the Jesus as responsibility simply because that was what was important to me. But you asked, the first question was about Joseph, and And obviously, we spent a lot of time on Joseph on Sunday in the message.
That's Joseph, New Testament.
Yeah, Jesus' adopted father. And Joseph was a man who he had some difficult choices to make. And in the midst of those difficult choices that he made, he stayed true. He chose to marry Mary. That's don't say that 5 times fast, you get confused. But he chose to marry Mary, even though it was going to cost him his reputation, even though nobody was going to believe him that this child was from the Lord. And he also chose to adopt Jesus as his son. And then his responsibility allowed him then to keep that commitment and continue that commitment. I'm telling you, it was not an easy path. The angel didn't appear to anybody but Mary and Joseph. So
it's pretty amazing that God even picked Joseph, to choose somebody to be the father of your son. Like, all the responsibility that Joseph must have felt in that, not just being the dad, but being the protector and the provider of God's son.
Well, and you're gonna an angel's gonna tell you that you need to get up and leave now because they're coming to get Jesus to kill him.
And he did.
And it's, I mean, you can't. I mean, you're gonna protect your child, and danger's coming. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's scary. We talked about Joseph, in historical Joseph being responsibility. Are there any Christian heroes out there that are from present day that you think kind of show that theme of responsibility?
Well, I'm not real familiar with the current people, but I want to point out that my dad was responsible. That my dad showed responsibility to me. My dad taught me, if you break it, you fix it. If you borrow it and you break it, you replace it. And I don't borrow a lot of stuff anymore. If you borrow somebody's car and something breaks, you fix it. And to me, that's responsibility. I mean, that's a big part of responsibility. And he modeled that for me. I think a lot of my responsibility probably comes from my upbringing. That in our culture today, we hear a lot about rights, but we don't hear a lot about responsibility. Everybody's quick to blame somebody else or blame something else instead of taking responsibility. So I think that would be the way I would look at that.
That's really good. Do you have anything else to add about responsibility
before this plane goes over? This is my wife, and I love her, and I'm faithful to her, and I keep my word with her. And that's responsibility.
There you go. That's responsibility. Have a good night, everyone. And on that,